Alright guys, I'm going to talk about MAIDANA versus Mayweather 2. Yes, there's going to be a rematch. Whether you want it or not, it's going to happen. But anyway, first, Lara versus Canelo Alvarez. Now, I respect both fighters. It was actually a pretty good fight. Some people said it was boring, but I actually enjoyed the fight. It was a pretty close fight. It's one of those fights where it really came down to, the fighting was so close that it really came down to what you preferred in the scoring an actual boxing match. Okay, you had the Cuban fighter, Lara, who he's this crafty, fast-moving fighter with great footwork. He's a southpaw. And you also had Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is this Mexican fighter who is a hard-hitting fighter. He's got a little boxing skills. He was actually able to outbox another brawler, Angulo, and in a very impressive victory recently. Lara has been going up against some really tough competition, and some guys have actually been ducking the guys. So I was really impressed with both fighters. I've seen some of their fights before. I'm not really a boxing fanatic or anything, but I'm interested. I'm a casual viewer. I was interested. So the fight, when I saw the fight, I can tell you that the first 3 rounds definitely went to Lara. He seemed to be definitely more effective in his footwork, using the ring. He was more effective in really getting in. He's a southpaw, so he was able to really get in and hit Canelo and didn't get out. He was able to avoid a lot of hits, and he put on a pretty good stylistic show for the first 3 rounds. But then Canelo finally caught up with him in round 4 and 5. I gave those 2 rounds to Canelo because he was able to land some liver shots, some body shots. I thought he was really effective. It seemed like he was doing more damage at that point. The 6th round, I don't know. I gave that to Canelo. Simply because I thought Lara did a little too much running and he didn't do enough damage. And that brings me to something really important. You could have given that round to Lara, you could have given that round to Canelo. It really depended on what you were looking for and your interpretation, interpretation of what you should score in a boxing match. Now, do you give more credit to the guy who is able to avoid the hits, a guy who's able to get around, move around the ring better, or do you give more credit to the guy who lands more effective hits or harder hits? You know, even if he doesn't throw a lot of hits, you know, so there's a lot of that going on there. There's ring generalship, which is one way in which judges score a boxing match. How do they command the ring? Another way in which you can score a boxing match around is, okay, who's more aggressive? Who's the aggressor? Who's controlling the pace? You know, Lara did a good job of controlling the pace for a lot of the fight, and that was really impressive. So I can see how some people thought that he should have won the fight. Canelo, he definitely, I think he got the better of the hits, the more quality hits, so I can definitely see how people would have saw him winning the fight. So the 6th round, it could have went either way, so I gave that to Canelo. At that point, it was 3-3 at the end of the 6th round. Okay, after that, I think the 7th round, I think Canelo hit Lara with a really good uppercut. He definitely won that round, and he landed a good uppercut that actually caused a cut in Lara's eye, right here. Okay, I think it was his right eye, right? It came across. I think it came in like this, or was it like this? I'm not sure. No, like this. But anyway, it was a pretty decent sized cut. The doctor said it was pretty deep, but I didn't think it was going to be stopped anytime soon, and the doctor didn't say it was going to be stopped anytime soon. But it was an effective uppercut. Okay, so I definitely gave that round to Canelo. Okay, so moving into the 8th round, and that's where it really starts to get tricky. You know, it really started to get tricky. At one point, I actually, you know, the only rounds I thought were really hard to really decide were I think 6 and 12. Like 12, I think they both did a lot of good work. Canelo, I sort of gave him the edge in round 12, but disclosure, I sort of rooting for Canelo anyway. However, you know, I think I could do a pretty good job of being objective. I think he probably did just enough to win the 12th and the 6th round, but you could have just easily saw those rounds and said, you know what, I think Lara did enough to win those rounds. So depending on how you saw those rounds, I think that'll have a lot to do with your final scorecard. So my final scorecard, I thought that Canelo won 7 rounds to Lara's 5 rounds. However, you know, again, you could just easily say, especially if you gave the 12th round to Lara, and you could just as easily say, oh well, Lara, he tied it up at that last round. I mean, it's hard to say, but I definitely gave Canelo a 6-5 advantage going into the 12th and final round 12th round is anybody's guess there. It was a very closely matched. So I was really impressed. I was really fascinated by that matchup. Do you want to see a rematch? Do you think it's really necessary? I think the fight was close enough to really justify that. I think that would be a fight worth seeing. So that would be something I would definitely be interested in. All right, speaking of rematches. Okay, Mayweather versus MAIDANA 2. I don't really want to see this again. Okay, MAIDANA did a much better job than I thought, but let's be honest, it was sort of a dirty fight on MAIDANA's part. Yes, he was being more aggressive at times, but he wasn't really landing. You know, Mayweather made him miss a lot, which was sort of the problem. Some people scored it like it's a tie, a draw. Some people said that, oh, you know, what else? Maybe MAIDANA won, you know, a 7-5 or something. I saw that match and I thought that fight. And I thought Mayweather definitely took over the fight towards the end of the fight, and I thought he did enough just to get like maybe 7-5, you know, 7 rounds to 5. I thought that MAIDANA did enough to make the fight more interesting, but I don't see him beating Mayweather. Not unless Mayweather is really in decline. I don't know. So, I mean, do you really want to see that? I mean, I would rather see Mayweather fight Pacquiao. Okay, you guys know that. And we all know about the Top Rank promotion drama in boxing. One of the things that pisses me off about boxing is that you have one set of promoters who won't want to work with other fighters, or fighters don't want to work with these promoters. Mayweather doesn't want to work with Top Rank because he has drama with Bob or whatever, the guys running Top Rank, and they were angry with one another over money and whatever, you know. So for that reason, you won't necessarily see the best fights. You won't see Pacquiao, who fights under Top Rank, fight Mayweather. You know, it's something like that. It really pisses me off about boxing. And then, of course, yeah, what else could we see? We could see Keith Thurman. He's undefeated. Keith Thurman. He's a welterweight. He's undefeated. I think he's a pretty talented fighter. Why not see him take on Mayweather? Because I think he could keep up with Mayweather. That's why. Look, I just think there's better fights out there. What else? Sean Porter, another better fighter for Mayweather. So who would you like to see Mayweather really fight? At this point, I don't think you're really going to get the fights you really want to see, and I think that's one of the biggest problems in boxing. Another problem, going back to that Lara and Canelo fight, one judge, I think 2 of the judges had like 15-13, which is basically 5 rounds to 7 rounds, you know, in favor of Canelo, and other guy says in favor, you know, 7-5 rounds in favor of Lara. So basically 15-13 on both sides. It was a split decision. One judge said that Canelo, I think, won 117-11. He won by 6 rounds. Are you kidding me? It's like, if you view Canelo as being a victor by maybe a couple rounds or one, I can understand that. If you view it as a tie, I can understand that. If you view Lara winning by 1 or 2 rounds, I can understand that. But come on, 17-1, that's ridiculous. 17-11, so basically by 6 rounds, that's absurd. I mean, you would have to win like 9-3. I mean, 9 rounds to 3. That did not happen. Okay, that did not happen. Sorry, no way. It's just like with the Mayweather fight. Mayweather and Canelo. Somebody actually said that. Somebody rated. Somebody actually tried to say that Canelo won that. One of the judges with some outlandish score. That's one of the things that sort of frustrates me about the sport of boxing. But anyway, guys, what are you looking forward to as far as fights? Ronda Rousey. Wow, she easily beat Sarah McMahon. She easily beat. What was the other girl she beat recently? Jeez, I forgot. The fight was like 16 seconds. I'm sorry. It's like, I feel terrible. Fight was like 16 seconds. Oh, Alexis Davis. Oh, man. Yeah. I stand by my original assessment. I thought that Miesha Tate was probably the best fighter that Ronda Rousey in mixed martial arts. Of course, if you watch MMA, you watch UFC. And probably the best fighter that she's gone up against so far. Now, will she go against Kat? Who knows? Maybe she'll put together a better resistance, a better fight. Maybe she'll eventually fight Cyborg. Do you want to see that fight? I mean, man, I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, I think the key to really beating Ronda Rousey would have to be a female. She would have to have really good boxing skills, and to really, it'll really help if she has a good reach on Ronda Rousey and really put some distance between the two. I think she hasn't really gone against a girl with really effective boxing skills. I think Miesha Tate sort of came closer to that. I think Miesha Tate had the ability to really put some distance and really do some damage. I think she did do a little damage. She lasted longer than any of the girls she went up against. She went like 3 rounds with Miesha Tate the second time around. It'll be fascinating to see if the UFC can find any good competition. Anybody could really put up a good fight against Ronda Rousey. Although it is worth mentioning that Ronda Rousey is getting better at her boxing. She is getting better overall. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Bye.